relax into the holidays Nourishing Soups event. I'm Health Coach Heather, and today I have a really special demonstration to show you. Yes, I'm in my kitchen. This is my house, and this is, well, my island and my kitchen. So I just want to let everybody know that we're still doing the 30-day challenge, and I have my 30-day sugar-free challenge calendar right there. We're almost done with that, and I just want to thank all of the participants who've been doing the sugar-free challenge with me. So I just want everybody to get out their recipe books. So here it is. We sent everybody a copy of this, and hopefully you've printed it out. You can follow along with me through these two demonstrations, and also some really wonderful calming techniques for to use practical tools to combat holiday stress. Okay, so the first soup recipe that I'm going to make is, what page is it? Okay, this is 2, and this is the vegetable broth and stock. And this is a base for pretty much every soup there is. You have to have a stock. So let's just go ahead and get ourselves situated with a very, very basic technique. So I'm just gonna put this over here, and let's see. I have this beautiful tray of vegetables that I'll be working with. So the ingredients call for carrots, parsley, green onion, celery. These are parsley sprigs. Oh no, these are thyme, and then onions and garlic. So I have this here for the homemade vegetable broth, and I'm just going to put it over here, and I'll just be taken from it so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so one thing that I need to know is, can everybody hear me just fine? If not, I can always speak louder, so let me know. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if I'm speaking just fine and you can hear me. Yeah, if you can't hear me, you say, Heather, you need to speak louder, I need a thumbs down. So Colleen's over there helping me out, trying to figure out if I'm speaking loud enough. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. Perfect. So the first thing we're going to do with this vegetable stock, and I hope you're following along, is we just got to chop the vegetables. So here I have some carrots. And let's see. I think this is a good place for me to start chopping carrots. And so these are already washed. Tip, when you are making your soups and you have carrot ends, save those. Put them in a plastic bag and save them. Put them in the freezer, and it'll be much easier for you to make broth and stocks later on for your soups. Because that way you just dump them in the pot, or I'm going to show you a technique here in just a second. So the smaller you cut the vegetables, the more flavor your broth is going to have. Now, you might hear me use broth and stock interchangeably. There are some slight differences between the two. So, stock is traditionally made with bones, any type of meat bones. And a broth is traditionally made with, I'm supposed to heat the oil in the soup first. So I think I'll go ahead and just put this to the side and do exactly like the instructions say. Okay, so stock is typically bones that are simmered for a long amount of time, 6 to 8 hours, and plus the vegetables that go with it. But you know, we don't really worry about that because we're plant-based. A lot of us are plant-based. So the other differences between broth and a stock is that broths you cook for less time, for like 2 hours or less, and for stock 6 to 10 hours. Broths you season, stocks you do not season. You wait until you make a soup to season the stock. So because we're not doing any type of meat dishes here, you can use stock and broth interchangeably. And like I said, there's very subtle differences between the two. Okay, so if you're looking at this going, yeah, Heather, I don't know about that. I see you chopping some carrots, and that seems like it's going to be too time consuming, or it's not really your thing. Well, there is a really cool trick that you can do, and I will show this to you right now. You go to Trader Joe's and you buy yourself pre-chopped vegetables. This is called a mirepoix, and it says that right there. You got your carrots, you got your onion, and you got your celery. All you do is heat up the pan with a little bit of oil and you just dump that right in there. So that's the easy way to do this. And I've done it myself plenty of times when I've been too busy. So that's good. I think Trader Joe's has it all season long. Not a lot of places carry mirepoix. I haven't seen it like in Safeway or Fry's. I know that the most consistent place is Trader Joe's. So with that being said, sometimes they do run out. So if you don't find it at Trader Joe's, it's probably just because it's already been bought. So I'm just going to quickly chop just one of these onions, and I'll leave this one out so we can move along. And it also helps to have a sharp knife. Okay, so what else do we need here? We need celery. So I'm going to put this in a separate bag for later because I will use all of these ends in another soup. And then it'll be much easier. Okay, let's go in here. All right. So now we have a bunch of green onions. It's kind of nice to look and see how something is done before you actually try it yourself. It goes a little bit easier. Now, I don't know if any of you are into food blogs, but the really cool thing about food blogs is they have these little videotapes, and you can actually see people cooking their recipes on fast forward. So you get like this really quick gist of how the recipe is going to go, and then you'll be more inclined to make it yourself. Okay, so let's see, we got our carrots, we got our onions, we got the mixed garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and start heating up this pan so it'll be nice and hot when I put all of the vegetables in here. I think, oh, there we go. I'm gonna cook, put that on high. There we go. Okay. So, garlic cloves. The best way to, for me anyway, what I do with my garlic cloves, you can buy them. That's the easiest, the chopped minced garlic. I like to do garlic fresh. So I take the side of my knife and I put my garlic right there, and with the base of my hand, I just smash it. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I just smash it. And then that way, when you cut off the end, the whole garlic comes right off. And you don't got to worry about it anymore. Easy peasy. So let's do it with this one. And then I'm just going to grab that. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to quickly just rough chop this. It doesn't really need to be like that fantastic of a job because we're going to actually strain all of the vegetables out of the broth. You just want the broth itself. And so here we have these sprigs. So this is a sprig of thyme, and this would be considered one sprig. And it's fresh. It's just a fresh herb. Now, if you don't want to use fresh herbs, you can absolutely get a dried herb. It's going to be a stronger flavor. Usually with the sprigs, it's meant to be taken out. You can't take out the dried herb. It might be a little bit hard to strain it, but that's okay. It's a flavor preference. We're going to use sprigs. Okay, and then we're also going to do the same thing here with the parsley. Now these ones, I'm just going to chop off the ends, just like that. Okay, so we have this nice, beautiful chopped up vegetables. Go ahead and put some olive oil. Now it's a tablespoon of olive oil. That's about a tablespoon. I know, I should have measured. And let's see here. We're going to put all of this in here. And I just want to just let the oil heat up for a minute. I'm not really used to using this pan, so I'm just testing it out. Okay. Shut up. So then we just simmer. We just simmer all of it in a pan. In here, the garlic, all of it. Okay, so I kind of led you through the long, tedious way of doing that. Just to let you know that it's still kind of simple. It's not too bad. But there's all of the shortcuts that I just talked about. So we let this simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm trying to get like a really good, there we go. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so we're just gonna let that simmer for a second. And then I have a pot. I have a stock pot that looks like this. And I have 2 quarts of water in here. Now 2 quarts is about 8 cups of water. So that's in here. And I'm just going to put that first here for right now. You can absolutely add any other vegetables you like. This is a very, very basic broth stock recipe. You can add mushrooms, celery roots, bell peppers, whatever flavors that you really like that you want to make it super later. So that's really awesome that you can kind of make it to however flavors you really want it to be. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So this is just the very basic. Okay, so we're gonna let that hang out for just a second, and I'm going to start prepping the other soup that I'm going to make. And that would be the vegetarian with cake, which is on page 4. So, if you look down at the ingredients, you're going to see something that says 8-ounce vegan cream cheese or cashew cream. So, I'm going to show you how to make the cashew cream right now. So, I'm going to prep for that as I'm just kind of watching this. Small I have here. It smells so good, by the way. It smells amazing. The thyme in here is so fantastic. I can smell the parsley and then the onions in here as well. Now, if you're not a fan of onions, of like the white onions or the big yellow onions, you can stick with the long green spring onions or shallots, and that works too. Let's see. Let me grab, okay, so For the vegetarian white chili, I'm going to show you the cashew cream. And so you do need some just regular raw cashews. And let's see here. We are using, I think we're using 6 ounces. So I'm going to soak this in some hot water, which is coming right up. It's okay. Colleen's helping me in the background. Okay. Thank you, Colleen. Okay. So here I have my water, and I'm just going to soak my cashews with hot water. I'm soaking my cashews for about 10 minutes. I'm just going to dump that in there and just push this out to the side. And
Heather?
just kind of.
Heather, it's Judy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the sound is going in and out. Your sound is going in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Not
Can you
quite.
hear me? Can you hear me now?
When you turn away from the camera, the sound goes down.
Okay. That shouldn't really happen because I have my microphone in, but I will face the camera. So
Okay, whatever.
all right. So let's go ahead and turn this off. And I'm just going to dump all of this into my stock pot right there. I'm gonna let this boil uncovered. So here, you can see on the side. All of that beautiful vegetables that have been sauteed and it's very aromatic, just going right in. And I'm just gonna pop that on the stove. And so if you look down at the directions, it's uncovered for 30 minutes. So you bring to a boil, lower the heat, uncovered for 30 minutes. You strain out all of the broth afterwards, and all of the vegetables and the herbs, and then you're left with a beautiful broth. From there, it's your base. Now, you can even use that broth base when it's done for the 2 cups of vegetable broth that is in the white vegetarian chili. And that would be amazing. It's gonna taste really fresh and much more fresh than you can find in the boxes. But today I'm using a regular vegetable broth. And let's see here, let's look at the ingredients. If you're watching your sugars, this does have added sugar. It has 1 gram of added sugar. What? That's why we try to make things homemade, right? And it does have yeast extract too. So you do have to be careful with broths. Even it's just way better to make everything homemade. And then you can also get one of these. And this is the vegetable bouillon that did we confirm this is Trader Joe's? I think it's Amazon. Dr. Morris uses this. This is the organic gourmet vegetable bouillon. Okay. Now, this is what you can use in a pinch if you need to, but really the gold standard is what I just used. So let's move on. Let's move on to the vegetarian white chili. Okay, so Colleen made this recipe. The whole staff tried it and absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited for this. Let's check this out. Okay. We need to fry the garlic and the onions and the bell pepper. So let's get started. Got my bell pepper. Cut that in half. Toss that. Okay, so all of this is going into my next batch of vegetable broth. Can you see that? I have this pile right here. You can absolutely buy pre-sliced vegetables. You can find bell peppers that have been sliced already like this if you're in a hurry. But you know, it takes an extra couple minutes. There we go. And let's do this one. Okay. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the rest of this from the vegetable broth. So what I love about soups is that you can get in so many vegetables in a bowl of soup, and a variety of vegetables as well. And it's like you didn't even try. Like you don't even know it. It's just pure deliciousness with very little work on being like, oh, I have to get in my 6 cups of vegetables. It's just already there for you. And it's cooked, so it's better on the digestive system. Okay, so let's see here. We're frying up the garlic. Let's get some more garlic. Again, you can buy this pre-chopped. I'm not used to cooking that way. I really do chop all of my vegetables. And that's how I do it. Okay. My kids are getting a little bit older now, and they've been I've been teaching them how to cook and how to chop a little bit more. And it's been really nice for me because I can be like, oh, hey, can you chop this for me? Or can you dice this for me? No, I got some helpers. So that's good. Okay. All right, speaking of helpers, speaking of one of my younger chefs, I got my son who just came home from school, and he's been watching this video patiently in the back. Do you want to come over here and say hi? Okay. Okay, my 10-year-old son Liam wants to say hi to everybody. So come over here. You say hi. Wave hi to the camera. All right. There you go. Give me a big hug. Oh, love you, buddy. Love you. Okay. Let's go ahead and fry this up. I'm going to turn this on. Let's add a little bit more oil. What do we got here? I'm supposed to fry this up in oil. I don't see the oil in the ingredients. Am I missing that, Colleen?
Yeah, you just put some.
Oh, I see what it is. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do for this time is we're actually just gonna use the vegetable broth. So it's really wonderful to use vegetable broth in case you don't wanna use oil. So if you're doing more oil-free cooking, it's not a big deal. You just saute the vegetables in some broth, and that's it. Great, actually. I have this cookbook that I've been messing around with, and it's an oil-free cookbook. There we go. And so you saute everything in a broth, which is another reason why it's really wonderful to have the broth on hand. It said with a bit of it, so I think we'll consider this. And that way you can see the difference between the two, difference with the oil and then the broth. So I didn't know how I was gonna feel about oil-free cooking. They usually cook everything or saute everything in a little bit of oil, but it's actually quite wonderful. So if you're watching your calories, you want low-fat cooking, you're watching how much oil you put in things, just go to the broth. It works just fine. Just fine. Okay, how do I? Here. So like I said, this was a winner at with the Moore's Health staff. So I'm excited to make this. Now, like I said, Colleen is the one that made this, and I kind of purposely didn't make this beforehand to know everything that I'm supposed to be doing because I wanted to show you the process of a novice doing this on its own. Because you know how that happens? Like you're cooking with somebody, but they already know exactly what they're doing, so it takes like no time at all. So this is live here. We're all in this together. Okay, so let's start with the vegan cashew cream. So this is soaked. Here are my cashews, and they're soaked in hot water. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain it. Yeah. Okay, Colleen's draining that, which is bad. Okay. So let's. We're sauteing this in the broth for 5 minutes. Can you see this? Okay. This smells amazingly wonderful, by the way. And like I said, if you don't want to use onions, you can use shallots. They digest a little bit differently in the body, so it may not cause as much GI distress or GERD or something of the sort. And I'm going to show you what this is a shallot, and then you can just kind of like break it up. This is a big one. Sometimes they're smaller than this, but this is what they look like. So they almost looks like a really huge garlic. They're shallots. Okay, so let's get another pan for this. And I have my, thank you very much. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and add in the 2 cans of beans. So these are just white canned beans. You can definitely make your own homemade white beans. I love homemade white beans. I make it all of the time. But for ease, we're just gonna go ahead and open these up and now, do you drain these, Colleen? Oh, okay. She's telling me that she likes straight. But we can still put in the chilies. So we're gonna just add in the chili. So this is the canned green chili, the hash New Mexican. And just watch out because they have a heat meter on them. This one says hot. We accidentally got a hot one, but this one says mild, and that's the green. So it kind of depends on your heat level, which is kind of cool. Colleen was like, "What do you want? Do you want the hot?" I need the hot. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. Okay, so we got the beans. We're just gonna put the beans in here. We drained them. And if you can't get beans that are low sodium, you just, with that colander, you just rinse off the beans in the colander, and it rinses the excess sodium off of the beans. So that's a really good tip for the low sodium, if you're watching your sodium levels, which we kind of should all be watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this off. We're gonna add this in here. Okay, I'm just gonna let this pan cool down because I wanna show you my food processor, and I'm gonna let this cool down first. So I'm gonna add in the 2 cans of chili. So it says 7 ounces, but we have 4 ounces here. So we got 2 cans of the 4 ounces, which is close enough. And that's one beautiful thing about making soup too. It's not an exact science. You can absolutely mess around with all of this. We have our cup of corn. Okay, there's the cup of corn right there. And it's just frozen. We just got a bag of frozen. Okay. And then we have, let's go ahead and add in the spices and then the vegetable broth. So this is 2 cups of vegetable broth. And I have my cups there. So let's just go ahead and use this. Okay. 2 cups of I'm splashing everywhere. Okay. So let's get the seasoning here. So we have the chili powder. Let's add the tablespoon of chili powder. I just have my tablespoon right here. Just open the lid. And then again, if you want more chili powder, go for it. That's amazing. Add some flavor to that. Okay, we got the cumin. All right, there we go. And we have 2 tablespoons of the cumin. It's probably a good idea not to measure over the pot. So I'm just gonna go over here and I'm gonna measure right here. I've done that before with pepper. I was grounding some pepper and I grounded it over the pot and then like the lid just fell off and it was upside down. It was a mess. I had to sit there and try to scoop up all of this pepper from the pot. Don't measure over the pot. Okay, and then we got the garlic powder, which is right here. Okay, we got 2 tablespoons of that. Does this look come off? Okay, so I just kind of made 2 soups in less than an hour, which is great. That's cool. I mean, that's really wonderful. 2 soups in less than an hour. I mean, yeah. And salt and pepper to taste. We're not going to worry about that right now. We are going to worry about the cashew cream, which is coming up. So, of garlic? Ah, the ground cloves. That's right here. That's 4th tablespoon, 4th of a teaspoon of garlic. Of ground cloves. So I would have never thought to put ground cloves in a white chili. I've never done it before, but I love the way that this soup tastes so much that we definitely have that. Okay, I'm just gonna stir this around just a little bit. So let's talk about cashew cream. The reason why you would want to make a cashew cream is it really does make any type of baking or cooking dish creamy. You substitute, if you're cooking more plant-based, you'll see a lot of cashew recipes or cashew cream recipes because it's creamy and it's a substitute for heavy whipping cream. And you can use the vegan cream cheese, which is in the ingredients because that's the original recipe. Colleen didn't do that. She made the cashew cream. It was absolutely delicious. We're going to stick with the plant-based with the fewest ingredients as possible, the freshest ingredients as possible. So that's what we'll do. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Okay, I got my trusty food processor right here. I love my food processor. Okay, so I've soaked the cashews and I'm just going to put them in my food processor and then I'm just gonna process it until it's a nice creamy consistency. Now, Colleen, do you do anything else with this? Okay, so we're putting the lemon juice in here and a 4th cup of water. So let's get the lemon juice. Thank you. So we got our water here. So the soaked cashews that we soaked in hot water for 10 minutes is in here. We have our lemon juice. And I'm just going to use this colander just to make sure that none of this seeds get in. Now this is a big half a lemon and it is super, super juicy. So it's supposed to be 2 teaspoons. I may have put more than 2 teaspoons, but it's around there. So let's go ahead and put this lid on. Okay, I don't really do my food processor from this angle, but it's all set. Okay, here we go. You can use a blender, and that's fine too. I'm gonna stop this. And I actually recommend doubling the recipe. I have a lot of recipes, baking recipes that call for cashew cream. There's a wonderful, we did the sugar free event or the sugar event last month, and there was a recipe in there for cashew cream that you put on top of desserts like a whipped cream. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. I recommend doubling the recipe. All right, let's stir this. Okay, it says salt and pepper to taste. That's up to you whether you want to add salt and pepper there or not. I'm definitely going to add pepper, and I typically don't add a whole lot of salt to my food. So here you can see, I hope you can see this. This is creamy. It's creamy and it's smooth, and that's what you're wanting. And that's what you're wanting. So here I'm going to show you this pan, this pot of like a wonderful, wonderful soup going on here. We got the beans, the onions, the bell pepper, the garlic, the seasonings in there, the green chili. Okay, so we're going to make this really creamy with the cashew cream. Okay. So now we know that we need to double the recipe for the cashew cream. So just to have it left over for any baking that you want to do. It does not stay in the fridge for too long, so within a couple days you want to bake with it or use it. And I'm just going to this whole thing, put it in there, and then we're going to cook. We're going to cook for around 10 minutes. Love it. Colleen, do you want to add any sort of tips or tricks with this soup?
I think you covered it well.
Okay. All right. Got everything covered. That's fantastic. Okay. All right. So that's that. So now that we have our amazing, healing, highly nourishing, high vegetable and fiber soups, let's go on to other parts of healing that tend to be overlooked during the holidays. And that's a lot of that is stress management. And with talking to people about stress management, well, the breathing always helps and it's quite useful and it's one of my favorite tools. But sometimes you just need something a little bit different, something a little bit more hands-on, more tactile. So I'm going to show you a couple of different relaxation tools that you can use over the holidays and from here on out, actually. I'm going to show this to you. This made it light. This made it creamy. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the stove and cook. Okay. So, let's go ahead and move to page. Let me grab my cookbook here. And Okay, so we're gonna move to page 5 is a wonderful article about just stress and perspective. You can see here that there's sort of lifestyle stress management article sort of embedded with the recipes. I did that on purpose so you can remember that this is very holistic. It's not only about nutritious cooking, it's about care of mind and spirit as well. It's about movement and exercise as well. We tend to lay heavy typically on one aspect, but really the 4 pillars of health are quite evenly distributed with each other. So we have on page 14, these are 2 easy exercises for, what do I have here? For stress relief. So the sun went away. So sorry, it's very dark right now. Oh, sun, come back, we need you. Okay, so I'm going to show you this one, the soothing tired eyes. A lot of stress is placed on our eyes. We use them for everything, and we're on electronics often enough, and we're driving often enough to where there is a strain, and if we don't sleep very well, it takes a toll on the eyes itself. And this is an actual exercise where you place your finger right near the inner part of the eye, close to the nose, and you just press your finger right there. I'm not going to press too hard because I've been cooking and chopping onions and herbs. So you definitely want to wash your hands before you do this one. And then you just kind of press, and you can immediately feel this really soothing, calming effect on the eye. It's quite beautiful. You can actually run your finger under some cold water, and that'll also bring a nice cooling effect to the eye. So then you place your finger, and you can use you can use your middle finger if you want to. And then you gently press on the outside of your eye. Closing your eyes. And you can actually do this both at the same time, pressing in ever so gently, and then pressing on the outside of the eyelid ever so gently. And it's just this amazing feeling. I hope all of you are doing this with me right now. I hope everybody's participating in this. So this is the basic movement, but you can absolutely press on the center of the eyelid. You can kind of press on the eyelid and look up, but still keeping your eyes closed, just having your actual eyeball look up, and it relieves so much tension on the eye and around the eyes. It's quite relaxing. So I hope that all of you did that with me together, and that you can just really see the effects that it has instantaneously. And you probably didn't even know, like, oh wow, I have so much eye strain, who knew? Or maybe you did know. Okay, so the second exercise for stress relief is this Tai Chi rocking motion. And I like Tai Chi, I like Qigong. I have practiced that in the past, and honestly, I forgot all about it for years, for several years, until a patient of Dr. Morse's brought this back to my awareness. And we do this together, and I would like it if we could all do this together. The Tai Chi rocking motion. So you can't see my feet from here, but hopefully you can see my upper body. So we stand straight with the feet and with the feet shoulder width apart. You want to move your weight to your heels and rock back. So I'm shifting all of my weight back to my heels, and I'm going to shift all of my weight to the ball of my toes and my toes. And I'm just going to do this a couple times, just shifting the weight forward, and then shifting the weight back. Forward and back. And now you can actually start to lift up the toes when you shift back. And then when you shift forward on the ball of your toe and your toes, you can lift up your heels, a slight heel lift. Shifting back, a slight toe lift. Shifting forward, slight heel lift. And then just do this a few times, very consciously. This also helps with balance. And it helps you learn to relax and to move slower with intention. So here, there's a picture with the movements. And what she's doing is when she's raising her arms up as she's lifting up the heels. And you want really soft hands. You want soft fingers and soft hands. And you raise up. And then you bring your hands down very softly. And then you bring your heels down and ever so gently lift your toes up. Rock forward, lift the heels up as you raise your hands up. You're also using your breath. So this is exhale, lifting the toes up, and then inhale. Lifting the heels up as the soft arms and the soft hands, the soft fingers. Okay, so you can try this deep breathing with the rocking motion and the hand movements. And really, it just takes a few times to do that, and it brings you into a sense of groundingness. It brings you to a sense of being more calm. And I think the big thing for me is when I started this, my hands were like, I'm doing this. You know, I was so like not at all graceful with my movements. And it took me a few times, a few tries to be like, oh, my fingers need to be soft, my shoulders need to be soft, my arms need to be soft. And that was actually very surprising for me. So you'll find different, you'll find with awareness within your own body movements and soften those body movements. And it'll be more fluid, especially if you add the breathing to that. So that definitely brings awareness, calming, and grounding. So those are the exercises for stress relief that are very, very simple. They take no time whatsoever, and they're very, very effective. So let me know what you think about those when you try them, because I would love your feedback with all of this. In fact, we're gonna go ahead and open this up to questions, comments, whatever you have for me. So we're gonna go ahead and, we unmute? Oh, okay. So you have to unmute yourself. So if you have a question or a comment, go ahead and unmute yourself and we'll talk, we'll have a chat. Is it working?
If all of them are asked for mute, so that means they have to mute themselves.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you actually have to hit the unmute button yourself. We cannot unmute you.
Anna's unmuted, Barbara's unmuted.
Okay. Okay. So, how to strain the vegetable broth. Go ahead and we've opened this up to questions. If you've unmuted yourself, that's great. You can ask a question at any time. If not, this is the broth, the veggie broth stock. At this point, it would actually be a stock because it's not seasoned. I didn't put any seasoning in it. So if I let this simmer for a while, this is a stock. it's a broth when I season it. And if I let it cook for less time than 2 hours. So there you go, the difference there. And like I said, with vegetarian, cooking vegetarian, vegan, it's almost no difference whatsoever. The difference usually comes in when you're cooking with meat. So you would need a colander like this, or even a mesh strainer. And you have a bowl underneath you. You just strain it all in here. If you have a bigger fine mesh strainer, that would work too. And then you just put it all in a bowl. And a tip that I do in my house is I have ice cube trays, and I put all of the broth in ice cube trays. And then once they're frozen, I take them out and then I put them in a really big freezer gallon bag. So if I'm sauteing something like we did here with the onions and the bell peppers, and I want to use just a little bit of vegetable broth, I'll take out a couple of those ice cubes, toss it in the pan, and then do my my broth saute with the veggies that way. So that's a really cool trick that I find really, really useful. Anybody have any questions at all about the soups or the relaxing techniques or the handout in general? I'm here for ya. I can be a little bit intimidating, like trying to unmute yourself and be like the first one to say something, but you can. So Colleen, can you see?
Heather, show us the chili.
Okay, so the chili has been on the stove for what, about 10 minutes now? So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay. Okay, so I just took this off of the stove. I'm just stirring it just a little bit. Okay, let me get a clear container. Let's see if we have a clear container. We can just use this one right there. Okay. Okay. I think this one. Okay, so that is the green chili. Can you see that?
Yes, it looks very good.
Yeah, I really am super excited about it. So I think the most important thing about the vegetarian chili is that you really want to make sure that you soak your cashews to their very nice soft, and you want to make sure that when it's blended in here, it's blended to where it's very, very creamy. Or else the cashews will be a little bit gritty because it doesn't, because it's a nut, it won't like blend into it like a cream would. So make sure that you blended the cashew cream well enough. Now, if that's not something that you're interested in, you can get the vegan cashew cream that's also in the recipe book, and that works just fine too. It just has a little bit more ingredients in it. So, is that what I said? Okay, the vegan cream cheese. Yeah. So, anybody else have any more questions about
what are you having for dinner tonight?
Oh my gosh, yes, I am having this for dinner. My family is eating this for dinner tonight. Absolutely. I'm really excited. Okay, well, if there's not any more questions, you can always email me. You can always call the office. Perfectly acceptable. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. And oh, don't forget about the Mirepoix and other shortcuts. for the soups. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening. And let me know if you try these soups. Let me know what you think about it. Email me. I would love to hear your feedback, of course. So come over here. You're so welcome.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, my son and I just want to say bye. Bye, and thank you for joining us.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.